Here we go. Hi ho, Pimlico here on Saturday for a nice selection of stakes that we've got going on. We just saw JD Acosta pass by us on set.
Hmm.
He's going to take a run around this track a little bit to get warmed up. And Keith, Horacio Caramanos off to a bang up start here for this fall meet.
How about that? 4 wins yesterday
Yeah,
for Horacio Caramanos. Big day for him. Very nice ride in the last race. Got my cousin Jones horse home. Willow
there we
Moon
go.
kind of rated kindly off the pace. Went on the attack in mid-stretch and got it done. So, yeah, off to a very fine start. Barbosa with a couple winners.
Yep.
And we're off at Hi Ho.
We are off at the old
Mm-hmm.
hilltop, and here we go. Let's take a look at the track really quick. Where the track is fast and the turf is firm. That's a beautiful shot over here of the turn. I love that shot, guys. Thank you so much for that. Nice, cool, nice 73. Nice autumn day to start us off. That might tuck up a little bit in numbers as the day goes on, but a nice overcast day. Plenty. I was just out there on the turf. Plenty of clouds out there. But hey, let's get going here on to kick off this Saturday card in this maiden claiming 12, 5, 6 furlongs on the dirt and 3, 4, and 5 year old. Keith, you land on the rail horse for Mario Lopez and Yana
Mm-hmm.
Ville and Keft.
Keefe.
Keefe, sorry.
Keffy.
Keffy.
I don't know. They used to call me Keefe sometimes when we were younger in school and
I'm going to
stuff.
start calling you that now.
Yeah, Keefe. Marty
Keefe.
McGee calls me
Keefe.
Keefe with two F's. But, yeah, I mean, this race could be as simple as the 7 and the 8, Bliss This or Crimson Rocket. They look like the speed. Slow Gin Bitters will have to battle to those two, to the inside of those two. I don't know if that one's going to survive. And maybe those two kind of run away and hide. But I got to look for a little bit better price. Those two are going to be awfully short prices. Keefe comes in. The debut back in June at Gulfstream. Took action. Lower percentage trainer, took some play, didn't run terrible. The number works. This is going to be first blinkers on the dirt. Showed a little bit more positional speed last time. A little upset shot, and I thought blame it on the fun for Donald Barr. Did not run awful at Timonium. Yes, 0 for 11, but has a chance to sit, relax a little bit more on the bigger track today and try to rally into this speed. I think it's going to be a good flow.
You don't think the distance is going to be an issue for blaming on the fun?
6 furlongs?
6 furlongs?
Nah, this horse ran okay going back in a mile. I mean, I think this horse can hang around. It's going to need a well-timed run from off the pace. Like I say, though, the two outside horses, Bliss just knocked on the door a lot. He's had a lot of chances. I was not impressed with that race at Timonium. Maybe he turns around here at Pimlico.
Blissus, I know just from experience with the gelding, he needs that confidence bolstering kind of trip. I don't know if he's going to get it here in
Okay.
this race, so I go with the obvious Crimson Rocket. Just impressed last time out with the dueling at the end, especially in this type of maiden claiming level. Just did all the whole hard work last time out. While closer came by wide, didn't get much of a chance to look that one in the eye on the outside. But that's my argument for the 8 to 5,
Okay.
keeping the 8 to 5 favorite at
Yeah.
the top. So I thought it was legitimate to keep that 8 to 5 up. But let's go before we get into race number 2. Race number 2 starts the early pick 5, where Keith, as per usual, has a ticket lined up for us. Keith, how do you see it?
Yeah, a little $24 ticket, 235 to get you started. St. Marco off the claim for Hugh McMahon. Race 3 with the 1 and the 6. Very good 2-year-old optional. Super Chow, Johnny Z, Elder, some really fast horses in here. Johnny Z from Albany. So I go 1-6 in there. Watch Brittany just jump up and bite me. I could have thrown that horse in. They're very tough to split,
Yep.
those three. Race 4, we spread a little bit here with the 3, 5, 6, and 8. Another quality starter. Racing Off's done a great job for this weekend. Highly competitive field right there. I had to spread. Race 5, we're going to trim it down a little bit. 8 and 9 got a stat on Silver Sea to come up for that one. Might have that one lined a little too high, but I still think we'll get an okay price.
I do. I for Silver Sea, we're gonna get into that a little bit later. I like the stat that you pulled up. So anytime a Keith Fusel stat comes up, they usually run 1, 2, 3. But let's kick on to this second race. Is claiming 25, a mile and an eighth here on turf. Not convinced by a lot of pace setters here. So for me, it's a game of finishers. But you see it with the number 2, Saint Marco, as the pace setter, possibly sticking around.
I do. This is a little shot. I get worried when trainers that don't have a lot of horses, they kind of protect, and then jam down. But Hugh took this guy and raised his back up. Has back turf numbers, St. Marco. There's not a lot of true flow in here. I think this horse can be put into the race early, maybe get a little bit of covered up, stalking. Has numbers at work, has the top buyer, I think, on the turf in the field. Faced the right kind. We saw Power Back win again yesterday, an allowance company. little shot here with St. Marco off the claim.
Why not? Right off a claim for Hugh McMahon. Typically does well. Could, as of late, could be a bit stronger in that. But Hugh McMahon at 6-1
Mm-hmm.
on the turf. Can't hurt at all. So
Okay.
I go with just to the inside. I go with Ballyhoo Prince as my price play
Okay.
for Patrick. And Toledo gets the same situation as last time on the rail. Broke out well. That was a decent check. It didn't take too much out of him, but that he had a very flashy and respectable turn of foot that I think,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I
Mm-hmm.
question the pace setters in this race. So I'm looking at a couple of these finishers and then comparing those finishers to see how they go, and then I go ahead and land on Ballyhoo Prince on top.
Very tactical. Should sit a great trip in here. My only concern is the mile and an eighth, Callie. That last 16th, last eighth of a mile for him. I think he's definitely going to be right there in the works, in the thick of it, as they turn for home. Callaway Peak, we have a video. This one's shipping in for Carlos Martin. Doesn't run a lot of horses here in Maryland, but this horse is going in the right direction. There was a vet scratch, I think, not too long ago at in New York.
Saratoga,
Yeah.
25th of August.
Yeah, okay,
Yep.
thank you very much. But finds a little easier spot, I believe today.
Yes.
Is really able to sustain. You see the Comet 3-path out 5 wide quarter and just keeps on grinding to get up. This extra ground's not gonna be too much finesse. The blinkers went back on. 3 back was a triple key. Horse came out of that race most recently to run a 76 in a maiden special weight against much better. Callaway Peak, looking good on the track, I think is going to make an impression from off the pace.
I think this is a great placement for him as far as condition. Now, looking at the horse as an individual, you talk about that 3-5 wide. This is a lumbering, grinding type of turn of foot, which bodes well when you stretch things out a little bit for them. So, Callaway Peak, absolutely, which is why I have him underneath as well.
This turf course yesterday played fair. Horse maybe even a slighter edge. The horse is kind of making that steady progression into a pursuing pace. Is a horse here for Robbie Bales. Definitely on the improve. Was able to overcome slow fractions and really fired home nicely with Caramanos riding the hot hand.
Hey, here we go.
Expect that one. Doesn't have a whole lot of speed. Will be well back curling. And T-Rex, I'll throw the 8 in the mix. It wasn't much of a feel, but I did go back and watch the video, Cal. This horse went awfully easy. Kind of, slower fractions, but
Sure.
battled well in hand, open up, and really was in hand the final 16th of a mile. T-Rex will be in the race early, and I think stays around quite a while.
With a wider post, with a little bit of time getting into that first turn, might have a little bit of advantage at 92. Why not? Absolutely. Let's kick on to race number 3. This allowance optional claiming 62.5. This is going to be quite a race, and let's kick in to your top selection right away. I have him underneath Johnny Z from Albany for Dale Capuano. Let's pull up the stat first, guys, if we're able, or we're on the video. That's fine.
Okay.
We're going to take a look at this first time out for this Dale Capuano starter.
Professional, I thought,
Yes.
Cal. I mean, just relaxed early, off the pace, good size. 2-year-old gelding by Blofeld out of Monster Sleeping. We remember that runner from around here. Carried a little bit longer even on the turf. I think Johnny Z from Albany is really going to benefit from this debut. Stays on that correct lead, edges away. Good final time of 57-4. Comparatively to Hellish, much quicker. Something left there. The breeding suggests extra ground, extra ground. We know the Blofelds have done well on the stretch out, and I think he's going to get the right kind of positioning just off the speed. Dale Cap, very good. Smaller sample with these 2-year-old optional allowance types. 3 for 7, 6 for 7 in the money over the last year's ROI of 440. But Super Chow from the rail is extremely fast. Veered in early, rushed up in that Grade 2 Saratoga Special. We saw Gulfport come back. Second in the Hopeful, I believe, is the favorite. On the engine from the rail. Be careful. That horse likes to drift a little bit. You don't want to be kind of taken out on the outside. That's Heldish, who I think is going to have to be maybe more concerned about Super Chow getting out.
To me, with Super Chow drifting out, I thought that was a little bit more. Now we're focusing on the rail horse on the inside, the one with Super Chow. But having this horse turn over a little bit, wasn't able to. He just against a Grade 2 field at that time, maybe got a little bit discouraged. So I'm thinking more the mental rather than physical aspect of drifting out. I don't know if I'm going to see that again. But then we focus on Heldish on the outside, where again wasn't against much in the Hickory Tree. That is a Virginia bred Virginia certified state bred stakes race, but gave plenty of heart. So super game. That's why I have Heldish a little bit higher in the mix. On top, I'm just kind of playing, especially with that outside post. I'm
Yeah.
kind of playing to that advantage just a little bit, just because the rail horse comes in the same situation, might get discouraged a little bit easier, especially after last time out.
Sixth place runner out of there, though, Callie, out of that hickory tree. That was one of the bandit horses for Rob. And
Yes.
Gina went up to win at Delaware with an
Yes.
okay fig.
We're
So,
gonna. Yes.
yeah, this three, they're really kind of tough. I just think Johnny's either way. That debut. Now, granted, it wasn't against the kind of field the likes that
Sure.
Heldish has faced or Super Chow, but the way in which he did it, I think he can sit just off of it and strike.
And just being at the barn in the mornings, this horse reminds Dale so much of his damn monster sleeping, and just he's been professional after that debut, so that really holds well. Again, you mentioned Blofeld with stretching out for this just second time starters. He's hitting at 24%
Wow.
with that, and his
Okay.
Dam Sire Oratory is at a 17% with that as well. So some more stats of my own to
Okay.
back up the Keith Fustel stat. Feeling pretty good about
Little
that.
piggyback,
Little
huh? All right.
piggyback. So let's start out. Let's keep it going to race number 4 in this starter allowance. Keith, you land on the number 8, who I have underneath the Wolfman for Rudy Sanchez Solomon, Javian Toledo, just coming off of that Timonium trip, cycling in from that Timonium trip. Tim Tolick mentioned that a couple of these horses that run decently at Timonium still run pretty well when they go off to the next meet.
I mean, you're just kind of glancing at the buyer figures. Pretty flashy with Substantial, and he's incredible out of that race at Delaware Park. I went back and watched it. Substantial had a little bit tougher trip up, back, waited, and switched out, and was really determined to get up. So now we got both of those horses, the 5 and the 6, stretching out from 5.5 to 6. Wolfman and Rockin' Hills, they're proven over this circuit, over the straight track. So we kind of got a battle of Delaware versus Maryland here.
Yeah.
We shall see. I know one thing. Alfredo Velasquez, he's like 30% the last 3 years. That's the trainer. He's incredible when bringing these horses to Maryland. And after a little bit of a lull, Jamie Ness is back and rolling along here in Maryland. Highly competitive race. Rockefeller's, we know what he's going to try to do.
Right.
Get to the rail, control things. He's able to handle pressure. But the Wolfman, I think back here, he's got a shot. He's got a chance to jump up to one of his bigger races. I'd like to see him be able to draft in a little bit and lay close. But we saw the track yesterday play fair. It played fair.
It did.
Yep.
It did. So
All
we're
right.
going to see. If you go back to that Pimlico starter allowance, that's the type of Wolfman I think that we might get to see. But before we kick on to race number 5. Race number 5 does start the pick 6, where I produced a ticket for you guys. I tried to keep it as manageable as I could. Race number 5, that's a maiden long on the turf, and a competitive one at that. You could have I did in fact add the 12, but you could have added the 1 and the 3 there. Race number 6, I could have gone wide. That, as we mentioned off air, it's a bit of a tricky race other than the obvious favorite, so you could go wide in that race. I chose to slim down, but race number 7, I play it safe with Plum Ali, Capital Structure. Race number 8, you can add the number 7, Wendell Fogg. Number 9, that's where I go wide in our Baltimore-Washington International Turf Cup. That is going to be a highly competitive race. So excited to see that. And then I single in on the obvious choice in the nightcap. You could throw in the 7 there for a little bit of a price, but I land on a $60 even ticket. But let's kick on to what starts this Rainbow Pick 6 is this maiden claiming 30, a mile here on the turf. And we've got a nice setup here. We both land on the 9, but let's catch up a little bit on the 8, where you have a stat on the number 8, Silver Sea for Arnaud Delacour. Yes, Arnaud Delacour, Georgie Rui in the irons today again.
Yeah. How about this? Last 3 years on the turf, Arnold Delacour, 8 for 20. 40% with these movers from maiden special weight to the maiden claiming ranks. ROI of 227. I was all over the map here, working on this morning line, and I've got her, I should say, the horse, the Philly Silver Sea, a little too high. Hopefully we can get like 9-2, 5-1. I mean, a dirtied up race on the dirt last time. Going back to some of those races, the Tampa races, they were okay, and kind of got that reserve comment in his second career start. I think she's going to ramp up. She showed a little bit more gas last time out. I think that'll work to her advantage. The blinkers coming off, though, I think she'll settle somewhere mid-pack and hopefully matriculate up into the flow.
If she can get a trip like she did at Presque Isle and add that into the mix, that's where I think her sweet spot is going to be. So, again, and you have Arnaud, who's either winning or he either wins or he doesn't. He's 33% as a barn trend with those
Yeah.
blinkers off. So as of the last 12 starts with the blinkers off, 4 wins and
Yeah.
4 thirds. The
It
rest
holds
of
up.
them holds up very,
Hmm.
very well. But let's kick on to
Hmm.
just the horse on the outside, the number 9, Lunar Ice for Angel Cruz. Just putting in a nice finish last time out for a mile and 16th. Cuts back in distance a little bit today.
Yeah, Damien's had a little bit of luck here on the turf of late, right? He went for a little bit of lull, but the horses are, it's all what works. The breeding and everything, how they get into your barn, it's timing. Lunar Ice, and he's also had success with stretching 5.5 out to a route. The blinkers went on. This horse had a beautiful trip from a more inside post last time, was able to relax and rate inside. Can he get that position again, Cruz, with this filly who's by Keen Ice? I think he can work out a trip. I like the way she finishes up, shortened up a 16th. That should enhance the punch of Lunar Ice. Nibbles with really no excuse out of that race on August the 14th against Lunar Ice.
With Nibbles, a little bit, not too much of an excuse. Tried, maybe just bounced a little bit. I'm giving the horse a little bit of the benefit of the doubt of coming back. We've got William Humphrey back, so I see this horse back on the upswing a little bit. But I'm interested in your arguments for
Okay.
the number 3 and 12, who I considered putting on my pick 6 ticket, especially the number 12. But let's
Yeah.
talk about the 3 first.
Okay, yeah, call me Vivian. Went back and watched the race. They settled in the clear, dropped inside, kept on churning. She keys up against Luminous. That was a big improvement, stretching a second route on the turf, and having a clean trip. Had a major excuse first time going long on the turf. So keying up horses, yeah, she's going to escape at a price. She hasn't been bet in any of her races. Melipanini B is a horse that I've chased a little bit here
Yeah.
for Susan Cooney. Yeah, she moves outside. That's going to be a tougher post. I'm hoping the jock just settles back and tries to make one steady progression. Save as much ground as you can to the 3/8, then hopefully work out a trip from there. She's got a punch to get into it. This is a kind of a wide open race.
Wide open
Race
affair.
number 5. You got to demand a little value.
Yep, have to. You have to. But let's kick on. Before we kick on to our stakes action, we've got a quick commercial, and we will be right back.
We're ready for the start. They're off.
Let's get rolling in this stakes action with the Shine Again Stakes for the girls. 6 furlongs on the dirt, 3-year-old and upward. And let's go ahead and start off with your obvious outside Oksana. For Tim Hills, Dylan Davis again going against a nice Chubb wagon and against an infamous Chubb wagon last time out.
Yeah, I thought that was a good effort, making a move into a very, very fast pace and stayed on. And she's kind of done that her last couple races. This is the relief that Oksana. Hopefully, that they can still maintain that form. If she does, I think she just prompts the pace from the outside and is able to kind of get past whoever's leading early. And I think Matitude with a good break might go ahead and send. This horse is improving. She has a little issues out of the gate, but if she breaks, she's going to be hustled up to the front. But Oksana, look at the company lines. I mean, she didn't run terrible against Joy's Rocket here on Pimlico on Preakness weekend, so she's familiar with the track. She just gets just the right kind of relief to get a score today. This is for fillies and mares, which have never won an open sweepstakes. So I think they found the perfect spot for her. If she doesn't get it done here, I don't know when she's going to get it done.
Didn't mention that we did have a scratch in the number 2 Sparkle Sprinkle. And Alberta's Son as well. I thought that horse was a bit of a head scratcher for me, so I got a bit of relief with that. I went with Peyton Elizabeth on the rail right underneath. Just interesting storyline with this one. It was a bit of a situation where this filly beat out one of Russell's, juror number 4, back in March. So I'm wondering if it caught either Brittany's or the owner's attention, and they probably just want this horse in Maryland. So gets the horse, gives this horse a little bit of time. First off of the break here in a stakes, that has to say a little bit something with a strong stat with Brittany Russell first after the layoff.
Yeah, they paid a lot for her, Cash is King, and got her back through the claiming ranks, right? Came back to get her. She improved. I mean, she runs some big races for Ness. So, and I think if this is what they've targeted and she's fresh and ready to roll, she's dangerous.
Yeah,
she
very.
takes a lot of play. 6 furlongs, she hasn't really tried. She's maybe a little bit better at 7. but there's some speed in here. I think she could work out a trip from inside and make a good finish against this group. White Knuckle Flyers on the improve as well for Dale Cap. So interesting little race. I mean, Oksana, if she brings her B+ game, she should be right there.
Exactly.
Then work out a price underneath for your exactas.
And a price underneath for Canoodle as well as 8-1. Yeah, that's my filly. I'm a huge fan of the filly.
You have a video, right, of Canoodle?
We do have a video actually of Canoodle 2 back. Just had a bit of a tough go, getting squeezed out like that, and just not being able to really overcome that. So then we go finally to this 5.5. Now we're at the 6. Should help her out. She'll love this distance, no problem. But what I do like is that this filly kind of overcame that a little bit. She's typically seems to be a little bit more one pace, but she was able to overcome that against a nice Damon Deal de Vigo filly last time, that 2 back.
Yeah.
So we'll hopefully add a nice. I like her at that price in this spot, but of course we both go with the outside favorite. But let's kick on to the all along, a 1.8 here on the turf for the girls, and we both land on the number 3 Capital Structure for Chad Brown, Fergal Lynch. Let's take a look at that video real quick for Capital Structure. This filly is a little bit touchy in the face, so you're going to see she got checked back early on and then gets asked again a little bit by Irad, and you're going to see her in about 5 seconds react to that a little bit, and you'll see that big white face kind of having a little bit of an issue, and then finishes up very, very nicely going around that. So talked to Fergal yesterday. As long as really with this filly, as long as it keeps her quiet, she should be going okay.
Yeah, that's the key. And she doesn't quite have the recent numbers that stack up with a couple of these other fillies and mares, but she's got figs on the go back. She's got the talent. You saw that. She's putting it all together. She's finally running 3 races in a row, which she's never done. She unleashed a big kick there and was really never asked. And granted, they were walking, but it's always tough to make up that kind of ground in that floor.
Right.
And she did it impressively, swung out to about the 7-8 path, top of the stretch, and rolled down the center to go by with something reserved. Nobody's wanted a 1.8 here, right? If I'm looking at it.
Correct.
So, I mean, we know Capital Structure can finish at the distance.
Yes.
Plum Alley in a hurry, they're very similar styles. They like to be forwardly placed. They kind of make that move, and then it's okay. The last 16, will they follow through? Maybe the class gets a horse like Plum Alley over the top. I like Capital Structure. I like Lake Lucerne as well. I go back to that race at Churchill, May the 6th. Bleecker Street, Fluffy Sox keys up against some of these horses. The 5th place finisher out of that race was a much lower price in that race at Colonial in the Old Nelson. She was 4-1, whereas Gladys 19-1 in a hurry, 10-1. So Lake Lucerne, although she hasn't won this year, keys up against the right kind. I think it's a great trip and brings a finish. She's beaten in a hurry before.
She has, and I just go also with Plum Ali underneath. Just wanted to take a look at those videos that we have for this filly. Earlier on, this was an earlier Belmont last year go. This is where this filly is on the rail, not quite brave enough to go for a spot, right? But then we get into that last run in the De La Rose Stakes over in Saratoga. Now take a look at how Manny Franco kind of handles her a little bit, gets her up through that, and then this time she does get a little brave, a little bit of encouraging. She ended up going through that spot on the rail nicely there in the De La Rose, but that's where I feel like this filly has mentally improved a little bit here for just kind of lining up mentally for today here for the All Along Stakes. And let's carry on to the Like the Few Stakes, race number 8. You land on the 1. What do you think?
Yeah.
Now, at first I had this horse on top, so gets a bit of that rail pressure position today.
Yeah, Trevor, right?
Yes.
Trevor coming back. Gotta like it. I think Rudy kind of had a rough go, right, at Saratoga. But what do you think now? The blinkers went on last time, and he's been able to kind of run 104 twice in a row. I think he moves up off of his most recent race, 3rd off of a break. There is plenty of speed. You're right, Callie. He's got to be on his game out of the gate to get position. He's beating the right kind. New York Traffic was in that race. We know, the Lex who he's faced. What do you think now? I think Trevor, he's going to come home and he's going to get the job done from just off the pace.
Just off of the pace, and so then who do you see? You see this horse being off the pace, off the rail.
Just off of it, I think.
Just off of it, on that fine line, whether you're in or you're out. So then who do you see making the lead for this race here today?
Oof. I mean, I think Quick Tempo's got a sense. Abelius is awfully quick. Maybe if Trevor gets a good break and he kind of plays that cat and mouse game, the jock's kind kind of do from the 5/8 to the half. Maybe does try to aggressive and take it. But Jackson Traveler is awfully fast too as well. Look at Sibelius.
We're taking a look at Sibelius right now, which we haven't brought up yet, but just taking a look, this horse has improved very, very well with in the Jerry O'Dwyer barn. And this once Jerry gets these kind of horses on a roll, he tends to place them very well in his campaign. I think this is the proper step up for this horse here today. But referring back to what do you think now? I got word from the room. Trevor sending. Trevor sending.
Got word from the room? Okay.
Yeah, so
all right.
Trevor,
Go ahead and
Trevor
send,
sending.
and then hold your pose. So, like I say, just tucked up inside somewhere to hold position. He's got to avoid, as you say, getting steadied, shuffled back into the turn. Sibelius just saw that race. It took him a while to get through the top two other then, right?
Yep.
He faced killers in those 2 prior races. Showed up going to the 6 furlong distance. He's right back at 6 furlongs. So it's the first time he's done it. And while pairing up at this distance, you saw he had something left. That horse he beat last time came back and ran a 100+ buyer as well. This is a really good horse race. Jackson Traveler brings his game, familiar with the track.
Yep.
Wendell Fong interests me. Coming back to Tally Lynch's barn.
Yep, that's going to be, and this is the superstar of Tally Lynch, and I really feel, and I was actually talking to Ferg yesterday about this. All these speed horses are going to go, and he just gets to sit, chill, and make one big run at it. They're going to give him plenty of pace to run into, but let's kick on to our Grade 3 Baltimore-Washington International Turf Cup Stakes. Very, very competitive 1 mile here on the turf, and we do have a bit of an adjusted morning line where we go with Public Sector at 3-1, Palo Alto at 6-1. Surprisingly, Busy Channel 15-1. A scratch of your Field Pass, who won this race last year. Shifting Sands up to 9-2. Set Piece up to 9-5, and English Tavern still at 20-1 for a price. But Keith, you land on the number 6 Set Piece. He just bumped up from 2-1 to 9-5, and this is a horse that's just really, really had a little bit of upset, a little bit of hiccup in that last go in the Arlington Million.
I wasn't happy with the first line I sent in at all. I mean, my brain was kind of mush.
Right.
So I did an adjusted line because the horse that I knew I messed up was Field Pass. And what's he do on me? He scratches. So even on that adjusted line you just saw, horses are going to have to be lowered to make it add up for the formula. So
correct.
We've got it close. Set Piece now will be probably about 8-5, 7-5, I would think, when it's all said and done with the scratch of Field Pass. Everybody will tick down. But, this guy, he's familiar with the turf course. I got to toss the last at Churchill. We that course really wasn't grown in, everything like that. He'll bring a kick. I just think even with a slower flow that this race might have, he's going to show up today for Brad Cox.
Definitely. I go with Shifting Sands on the inside for Chad Brown, who we have a video spotlight on, and I just got to give a little bit of credit to this horse and what he had to do. There was a bit of a runaway on the pace. He had to do a little bit of the hard work, starts to make that move. But once you see, he's in between horses right now, makes a little bit of that move. He's right there in the green. He's in between horses, then he starts making his move. That inside horse on the rail, those two battle it out wonderfully. And this horse, as you can see, makes just an inside jump on the rail. He gets another challenger, just battles it out and just misses it. So based on the heart alone of Shifting Sands, I got to go with Shifting Sands today.
Okay, he and Public Sector, very similar.
Yep.
Public Sector, I think, in the race are going to be probably even a little lower price today.
Yep.
Chad Brown with 2 runners in here. And it's always difficult, you see off of those races, when they're 4th, 3rd, behind 15, 16. Like, how is that as a jockey? When somebody's out there, you get those loose leaders, and you got to time that run. That's got to be frustrating.
It's frustrating. It kind of, when you're behind the runaway winner, it kind of sometimes there are question marks going in your head of whether to go ahead, and you have to really just base on what's under. You have to go with what's underneath you.
Yeah.
Just to feel. I mean, you're feeling that they're going, and usually, in my case, I would just let him go, and which is exactly what was done with him last time out. The right move was done with him last time out, just missed it on the head bob with Franco on top.
That was tough, right? Definitely moving in the right directions. Public Sector, I think he's back. I think he's gonna be a player down inside, likes the mile. You see that. Palo Alto, kind of the stranger right here for Grand Motion, first time coming in, off since May, last seen in France. But Dave Robin and I were talking a couple days ago. The Reverend, he was beaten 3 lengths. It's a good horse. 7-year-old, 12 for 20 lifetime. Be interesting to see. He's been forward in some of his races.
He has.
And you're looking at this. Maybe Busy Channel will kind of try to sneak away for Lacey. Palo Alto, another one. the break is going to be the key. We see these shippers sometimes
gonna
the
break
gate is
sharp.
not their friends. If he comes out Palo
Yep.
Alto, he'll be within range. So he's kind of that unknown type. It looks to me like he's got some talent, but I'm sticking with set piece.
Not
to be
so unknown.
one
I
time.
hopped on him about 2 weeks ago up at Fair Hill.
Oh, you
so
did?
I did, yeah.
Well, that's nice. Unknown to me, known to you.
He's gonna like this turf course just fine over here
Okay.
at Pimlico. The biggest thing with him is that he breaks sharp, and if he does better if he gets settled in behind or around a horse
Okay.
fairly early in the race. So really, that's my biggest thing with Toledo. As long as Toledo just doesn't let him go away, but he's been professional enough in those races in the past where he should be able to settle on his own, as I've seen him do in the past. But yeah, that horse is ready to rock and roll. But let's kick on
All right.
to our nightcap. This maiden claiming 12.5, 6 furlongs on the dirt. You go with the number 7, who I first had on top with I Have Courage for the Frocks. Charlie A. Frock, Walter Rodriguez, not getting the best go of it at Timonium last time out, over half a mile.
Now you see the comment. Rank started belated. I like
Yeah.
that. But closed into a very brisk pace. A lot of horses that have had some chances in here. I like the Frocks. A little gimme, a little tightener at the big T. Come home here to Pimlico to sit from just off of this horse breaks. I think she'll lay a little bit closer. I mean, Kobe's Girl may try to go ahead. There's not a lot of true speed. I think she's going to be forward here with a good break.
Forward here with a good
Yep.
break. So there's plenty. I see the changeup happening. Kobe's Girl, of course. A lot of chances. Kobe's Girl has had a lot of chances, but I'm giving one. I thought it was a bit too safe. I had to give it one last go for that nightcap. But let's kick on to our lightning round. Have a couple things to cover up. Couple of Maryland breds doing well. The La Castiglione wins in the Arizona Downs Distaff, sitting right off of the pace. And then, hey, we've got Fee Desprez back in action in the Seeking the Pearl back at Colonial. You can see her just come. She had a bad gate experience a couple back at Laurel Park, and then she comes out of the gate just fine, makes a nice little rail move. This filly's back in action and ready to roll. A wonderful performance from that filly. And then we do have my thoughts. Getting it down in the Fort Indianatown Gap, just finishing out very well over there in Indiana. A nice finish for some Maryland bred girls.
All right.
There we go. Also wanted to highlight that I am going to use this as a little bit of a personal go. We have the Real Ryder Cup coming up here next Friday, and myself, Britt Lawell, and Jackie Savoy will be competing for the Maryland Jockey Club, but we do need some help with donations. This is a wonderful event for thoroughbred aftercare. All the proceeds that are raised go to the aftercare. So if you just go to therealrydercup.com/make -a-donation / you can certainly put in a donation either in Britland's, Jackie's, or my representing myself. Could use all the help we could get. Wanted to highlight that Opportunity got the first winner as a freshman sire back at Parks in August, and I just wanted to highlight that while we were on our MJC break a little bit. But this is a $130,000 purchase at the Fags that tipped in 2-year-old in training sale in May. Game 7 was up for Todd Pletcher in Saratoga and put in a nice professional forward placing movement race over there in Parks for the first time and first winner for Opportunity. But Keith, let's get into your best bet here today in this nice stakes card action here on Saturday.
We'll wrap it up. Yeah, George Andrudakis got the best bet home. I left first my value yesterday, got in a little trouble. Just never really fired. 6th race, Oksana. We talked about it. Just got the right kind of class relief. Don't expect a real big price. Maybe in that 8-5, 2-1 range.
Sure.
We've got that scratch in there as well. So there's your best bet of the day for Timmy Hills. Race 5, Silver Sea. Talked about the line. Might have been a little bit high, but I think that race is wide open. I'll take 4-1, 9-2 on Silver Sea with that Delacour stat. Kind of put it over the top.
Well, let's see if that price can get home again. Let's wait on Dave Rodman for changes and scratches.
All right. Good luck, everybody.